This is for the non-uniformed deputy of the quarter. This is for our detectives usually that are in plain clothes or an assignment like that. The two individuals that received this award are Detective Kyle Linker and Officer Paul Jessen. These individuals were made aware of an individual that was selling narcotics, and they worked a case on this individual. Very early on in this case, they recognized that he had approximately 30 arrests, felony arrests, violent crimes arrests over the course of his life. So he's a violent individual with an extreme rap sheet.
For them specifically, they go in, day out. They love what they do. Again, they were out there wanting to work and do that job, and I decided to take the time to personally thank them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next group is for the uniformed deputies of the quarter, and this award is going to Delaney Grimes and Detective Josh Mora. If they could come up front, please. So on May 5th of this year, Deputy Grimes responded to an aggravated battery with a deadly weapon incident. Now, Deputy Grimes is a patrol deputy. That's what she does. She responds to calls for service. She conducted a great investigation on scene to identify the offender and some of the charges, appropriate charges that this offender could face. He had fled the scene prior to deputies' arrival. She did a great job looking at prior cases and just, I can't go into all the details, but she just put it all together. And she wanted to move forward with it. Again, she's a patrol deputy, so she's got responsibilities where she has to go to the next call. But she wanted to further this case, and she did. She contacted a supervisor and asked if she could work with a detective on this case. Ultimately, Detective Josh Mora helped her out. He actually stepped up and volunteered and said, I'll help her. They did a lot of work on this case. They did arrest warrants, search warrants, things like that. It was actually almost 2 weeks later before they executed the search warrant. So over that 2-week period, they just kept investigating, kept building their case against this individual. The BCSO SWAT team executed a search warrant at this individual's house. They apprehended him. They found evidence of the crime and took him into custody. Okay, next awards are the life-saving of the quarter, life-saving awards of the quarter. So first group of deputies, Ryan Stoffel, Dominic Armijo, and Lorenzo Herrera. If you guys could come up. So I'll say this about the life-saving awards. We have a lot of them, so I think that people look at them as like, oh, this happens all the time. They don't give it a second thought. But I mean, let's put this in perspective. Life-saving awards means they save somebody's life. That's probably the top thing that you can do in law enforcement. Now, we have a lot of these awards, which goes, again, to show the dedication of our deputies and what they do on a regular basis. They don't go out trying to win an award. They go out to serve the people. They go out to protect the people's basic constitutional rights, one of them being their lives. So in this specific case, these deputies that you see here were dispatched to a missing persons call. And it was some homeless individuals that had reported one of their friends missing from where they were staying. So the deputies, again, and kind of going back to the previous case, they could have just gone and taken a police report and turned the police report in and been done with it and go to their next call. They didn't do that. They did an investigation. They followed up. They talked to individuals. They did all the things that we do on every call, and they furthered this investigation. Ultimately, these deputies found the female clinging to the side of a flooded ditch, almost drowning, and they rescued her from that. And they pulled her out of the ditch and they saved her life. The next life-saving award goes to Deputies James Bush and Deputies Keith Curry. If you guys could join me up front. And I'll say this, and I really wasn't prepared to say anything about this, but Deputy Bush there is not in uniform. If you notice on his hand there, his right hand, he's got a cast. He was on a call, and I don't know all the details for a call. Was it a crash, Deputy Bush?
It was, sir.
So he was on a crash, and a car slammed into him, ran him over, broke his wrist, his thumb, and I don't know what other injuries he had just this last week. So this is the reality of being in law enforcement, is you place yourself in situations that are dangerous. When everybody else is running away smartly from something that's occurring, we run towards the danger. In this case, he was doing his job, doing a good job out there serving the public. Probably if crashed with injuries, he's rendering aid, he's doing all the things that we do on a regular basis, and as a result was run over by a car. So that's just what we deal with. We're okay with that. He's okay with that. He knows that's part of what this job entails. But I just want to commend him for, what he's done here, and I'll talk about this case, but also what all of these deputies do on a regular basis. We're the command staff, and the sheriff is the leader of our office here, but we know that these deputies have so much value. Like, our jobs up here are to make sure that they have what they need to be successful: training, vehicles, equipment. That's what they need to be successful, and we have to support them, and that's our job, is to support them. And hopefully they know that we support them. But I appreciate you gentlemen. I'll talk about their incident. They were dispatched to a vehicle that was parked on the railroad tracks, and it's a very dangerous situation. Obviously, I mean, you can use your imagination to what can occur if a vehicle is struck by a train. When they got there, they found a young man sitting in the vehicle. They made contact with this individual. He was obviously in some distress, emotional distress. Very easily, these deputies could have taken this many different directions. This individual parking on railroad tracks is a violation of the law. It puts people in danger. They recognize that, but they also had compassion. They had compassion for this individual who was dealing with some emotional problems. His grandfather had recently passed away. I think even his dog had passed away just prior to this. So, young man, not a teenager, not just in distress. These deputies could have easily, again, like I said, taken some law enforcement action and arrested him or issued him a citation because he was violating the law, but that's not the direction that they went. They talked to the man. They built a good rapport with him. They were able to get him some help, got him transported to the hospital. All right, the next deputies I'll ask to come up is Deputy Anthony McLeod and Deputy Josh Baca. So I don't know this exactly, but I think we gave Lifesaving awards out to last quarter. Did you get one last quarter as well?
Yes, sir.
McLeod? So he's a lifesaver, I guess, since he's always there when people need their lives saved. So we appreciate that. In this case, these two deputies responded to a rescue call. Now you think about that. It's law enforcement. We do all kinds of different things. I mean, you've heard some of these stories about pulling people out of ditches. You've heard about them saving people from a railroad track. These deputies responded to a rescue call, not really a law enforcement call by any means. It's just a rescue call, somebody in distress for a medical condition. So these deputies responded. They entered the residence. They found a male trying to give a female CPR. And this happens quite often, trying to give CPR on top of a bed. That doesn't really work that well. It's not effective. The bed has too much give. I mean, we could talk about all that. And these deputies know that because of their training, because they're dedicated to their jobs. They removed the female from the bed, provided CPR, ultimately got a pulse. The lady started breathing. Ultimately, she was transported to the hospital. But without their life-saving efforts, this lady would have died. So we appreciate them.